Hey everybody, happy Wednesday. Wednesdays are sales meetings day in our Keller Williams office. And on Wednesdays, we talk about what's going on in the market, but we also talk about so much more. And we always have special guests. And so I figured I would do a quick recap on Wednesdays for market news and all of the other great information that we get that might not be readily available to someone else. So today we had special guest JP Morrell, who's a new council member, and he spoke to us about what we all want to know. What is going on with the crime and what are they doing to address it? So I'll get into what he had to say in just a second, but real quickly before that, I do want to speak to real estate news. What's going on? We are just starting to see the market settle down a little bit, kind of go back to, pre-pandemic numbers as far as movement. That being said, we still have such a tight inventory. When you look at the amount of homes on the market and the time it's taking them to sell, the absorption rate, we've got about 1.5 months of inventory. And that means if no new houses were listed after today, we would sell every single thing that we have in about 45 days, which is considered to be an extreme seller's market. So we're still looking for properties to sell. There is such a huge influx of buyers ready and qualified to purchase those properties. Now, a lot of sellers would love to take advantage of all of the equity growth over the past couple of years, but may be nervous about being able to find something, if you sell, where are you going to go? So I'm happy to talk to anybody about that. We have plans, we have ideas, we've got off-market properties, all kinds of things. So you're just wanting to know, hey, how much equity do I have? I'm happy to talk with you about that. Maybe you want to use it for renovation or to get a line of credit to purchase something else. I'm happy to discuss that with you. But long story short, less houses on the market for higher prices, a bunch of buyers. You've been hearing this story for a while, so that's what it is. Quickly, with interest rates, we're still seeing historically low interest rates. I know you're tired of hearing that, but we're still there. So we have had some upticks since January 1 of this year. There's been some market volatility. If you pay attention at all, I'm sure you've noticed that. But the big picture to think about here is if you look at a graph over the past, 30 years or so, we're still so much lower than historic rates, and it's a great time to take advantage of these low interest rates. When you purchase a home over renting a home, you are building that equity. So even if you want to be there for a year or 2 years, there's a big chance that you'll get all of your money and then some back without paying rent to someone else and building their equity for them. So it's still a wonderful time to buy. Interest rates are low, might be a little bit tricky finding something, but we can work on that. So moving on from that, I would like to talk about what JP shared with us regarding crime. People are wanting them to solve it, get on task. What is happening with what's going on with the crime? It's been a huge uptick. And what he let us know was that in 2019, when the pandemic started, there was a spike and it hasn't come back down. And a big solution to that is to solve the crimes quickly. And that means to find the perpetrator, get them off the streets immediately. And what has happened and what is happening is that that's not happening. There was a crime unit that was disbanded right before the spike in crime. Crime went up 150% when that happened, and it hasn't come back down. And so they're working on getting these units back together. They're working on targeting the serial crime, the multi-gang units. So they're working on putting together special units for multiple different problems that are happening. And they're working on holding people to task when it comes to what's happening. So we are super aware of the recent carjacking at Costco, and this young man had been in and out of the system, and the current administration is trying to say, well, we held his hand and we went through these programs with him. Well, the council wants to take a look at those programs because those are things that we have spent money on, and they quite frankly just haven't worked on this individual. And so they are looking to address those things. They are looking to hold adults accountable when an adult kind of recruits children to do the dirty work for them. Right now, there's not a whole lot of accountability for that. They're shielded from that with, the child will face most of the charges. And so they're looking at different things to do with that. This video is getting long, but I would love to share more about what he said. But what we want to know is, what can we do to make change? And he said that we, as citizens of this city, have to continue to insist on change. We have to continue to email our council members, the administration, email them, call them, and hold them accountable. Hold the feet to the fire. He said that does create change. And also the council is, what he told us, is getting ready to go head to head with the mayor to address a lot of these things. So that's it in a nutshell. This was a 30-minute conversation that he had with us. He's so knowledgeable and he shared so many things, and I would love to share more of those thoughts with you and what they're doing. But I do feel hopeful that now we've got some people in place that are seriously dismantling the status quo, and they know that something needs to be done. There's so many things in New Orleans that you would never think about that are just backwards. Like, the state doesn't patrol our highways, and we are the only parish who the state doesn't patrol our highways because of something that Huey P. Long did back in his day. And so there's so many nuances, there's so many things to discuss. But I did want to share that they are addressing it. I know that oftentimes that doesn't give a whole lot of hope, but it's nice to hear that from people who are in the thick of it and they're working on it. So that's what's going on in my world these days. Lots of real estate, lots of city happenings. I would love for you to give me a shout. I'd love to have conversations about this. Hope you have a great Wednesday.